Hello everyone, welcome to the class. This is PED433 class, Children's Literature. The course is designed to help you to cope with teaching literature at primary school level. PED433 course guide and generality of the course is to let us understand the justification for teaching children's literature. Just like we all know that reading is an important aspect of formal education. For a child to read effectively, the child needs to be exposed to several reading materials. And these several reading materials are rich when it comes to are very available in children's literature. So children's literature is literature about children. When we talk of children's literature, we are talking of books like novels, stories, poetry, rhymes, and folk tales. They are books exclusively created for children, for young adults, for infants, for toddlers. These are the audience that children's literature is targeting at. Children's literature as a class activity offers the child reading for pleasure, reading for enjoyment. That is, when a child is exposed to reading at a very tender age, the child tends to enjoy reading for pleasure. And when a child reads, it helps such a child to cope with academic activities. And so it helps the child, it extends the child's experience and knowledge. So children's literature as a concept is defined as literature, like I've said, books, stories, rhymes, folk tales. It could be oral, it could be written, exclusively created for children. And so children's literature is targeting at helping children to develop reading culture as early as possible. Children's literature is exclusively written for children, and so it rests on three criteria. Before we could say this is children's literature, the following criteria must be met. 1. The heroes in the book must be children. They must be children, so that children can learn from one another. Secondly, the theme, the idea, the setting, the relationship, the use of language must be very simple. The simplicity of all this is very germane, so that students, so that pupils will be able to cope with reading activity. The theme also has to be simple, and so that the message, the moral lesson, as well as cultural values that you want to pass across to the child will be easier for him or her to grasp. So literature is literature for children if the ideas, relationship, and language used are simple. But immediately it is too complex, whether it is oral or written, it can no longer meet their demands and level, and so cannot be children's literature. Children's literature aids the child's reading ability and his use of language. Show me a child that reads, then his performance will be very great. So, children's literature stimulates the child's imagination. It develops reading culture, like I've said. Then it widens the child's orientation, as well as the child's ability to reason. So as teachers, you should give children literature materials. You should give your pupils literature materials, or you should recommend literature materials or books that will place them, that will stimulate their imagination, that will build their sensitivity, and also build in them power to be responsive to the demand of their culture. That is, books that you as teachers you are going to recommend should stimulate them, should encourage them, should help them to develop human feelings, should help them to develop love for their culture, should help them to tolerate other people's culture, should help them to live as a social animal that God has created us to be. So you must decide as teachers what is appropriate for your class at any particular time, putting into consideration their age, their level of exposure to the language, so that the books you are going to recommend will be to their level, will not be too low, at the same time high. So what is the aim of this course? This course aims at providing the awareness of the course, children's literature. What is it all about? What is literature? Then what do we mean by children's literature? So that at a tender age, the child will have been exposed to reading activity. And when a child is exposed at a tender age, at primary school level, to reading activities, reading becomes a thing of enjoyment for the child to do. So this course provides an understanding of the basic concepts, the value of children's literature, the types of children's literature, the characteristics, as well as criteria for choosing literature for children. The course will also guide and decide appropriate children's literature materials and books that you as teachers can recommend for your students. What are the course objectives? At the end of this course, you should be able to explain the meaning of children's literature, explain the meaning of reading and reading readiness. Because when you are teaching literature, you cannot separate reading activities from it. And when reading is about to take place, or before reading takes place, reading readiness has to be developed. So apart from this, also, you are going to identify and discuss variety of children's literature. You should be able to identify and discuss types of library, because we go to library to read, and libraries play important roles in reading activities. So you should be able to explain functions of a library and types of library materials. You should be able to identify and explain the educational values of children's literature. Identify and explain the criteria for selection of children's literature. Identify and discuss the role of teachers in teaching literature. So how do we go about this course? Walking through the course. First, you have to start this course by keep ready on your reading table a good dictionary, an exercise book to answer your self-assessment questions and assignments. With your writing materials, we are going to get to that, what we mean by self-assessment question and assignments. Then, secondly, study the material, the course material unit by unit. You need to spend a lot of time to read through the unit, to digest it, to study it. And also you need to note important ideas in each unit. You are being prepared to be a teacher to teach students how to read, how to enjoy literature books, criteria for selecting children literature books. So you, on your own part, you need to develop good reading habits. And that is why we recommend that you get a good table, a good dictionary, an exercise book, and writing materials. And then you go through the course material unit by unit. And also you go through the virtual library to get additional information. Try to observe all rules. Attempt all self-assessment activity in each unit, because at the end of each unit, there are self-assessment questions and assignments that will help you to test your level of comprehension of each unit after you must have finished reading the unit. At the end, before the end of the course, or as the course progresses, you will need to attempt tutor mark assignment, TMAs, which which is splitted into 3. At the end of the term, you write the exam. So the third one is to avail yourself the opportunity of attending tutorial sections where you have opportunity of sharing and comparing knowledge with others. Also attend online class where the course is facilitated through Zoom and also on YouTube. Participate actively in discussion forum in the online class to achieve effective learning. The course is a 2-unit course with module having total of 13 units. And like I said, there is self-assessment exercise and tutored assignments, tutored marked assignments at the end of each unit. There are 3 modules in the course material. The first module discusses the basic concept of literature. It exposes you to characteristics and value of children's literature. The second module introduces the skill children need for the successful reading of literature in school. Further describe how the skills of creative reading and reading in the content area could be acquired by the child. It also discusses different techniques that can be used as teachers for effective reading. So the module attempts to explain what library is all about, skills that the child needs to equip himself with in library use, and how it is very essential for a successful literature reading by the children. Module 3 discusses the role of teachers, your role in selecting and presenting children's literature. It also exposes aspects of Nigerian children's literature through some realistic fiction, so that you as teachers will be well equipped to teach literature to the children in your class. Like I said, PED433 is a 2-unit course with 3 modules. I've explained the module one after the other, the content in each module one after the other. Then, like I said, the 3 modules are divided into 13 units. At the end of each unit, there is self-assessment exercise and tutor mark assignments for you. And at the end of the course, at the middle of the course, you are expected to attempt 3 TMAs. And then at the end of the course, you are expected to write an examination. So the course is an interesting course, which you as teachers are going to benefit from. And the skills you acquired in the course will help you to be a well grounded and a professional teachers. So thanks for listening. Bye bye.